Hello everyone. Sorry we are late, so we get started now. I'm Suchi, graduate student in the DAS lab. Last time I think I presented something about modified map, the experimental technique. This time I'm gonna show you something really different. Is so for the past 2 months, I've been working on the RMDB, the RNA mapping database, which started as our in-house data repository for all the experimental data, which I think also hosts the Eterna raw data. Uh, and today I will show you some of the changes and new updates I've made over the last 2 months, and I'm hoping to collect feedbacks on what do you think are the important features that are missing, and also any suggestions how to make the RMDB platform better in terms of data visualization and the integration to the Eterna platform. So back in 2012, that's when the RMDB was first launched by Pablo. So after 3 years, we found the RMDB is mostly heavily used by the Eterna players and the members of the lab. And also along these 3 years, we have a lot of ideas in how to improve it. So I started this project, RMDB, so the goal is the goal is to make a better data sharing and platform and database for the RNA mapping data we have. So to make sharing, visualization, and also century structure prediction easier and faster for anyone. And especially for the Eterna, we want to create a new platform that enables faster and more convenient and also multifunctional browsing, and also possibly to integrate some of the analysis tools developed or inspired by the players. So far I've gone through 2 phases. The phase 1 is basically redesign and massive change of all the looks, and also have some cleanup in the file system. The phase 2, which was recently released like last week. So been working heavily on the data visualization, which is the JavaScript-based interactive like heat map and plotting. So that's yeah. So I will briefly go through some of the current interfaces. So if you haven't logged into RMDB for I think 2 months, you will find this new interface very different from what it looks like before. So this is the front page now. We have moved a lot of things around to make it more organized. For the front page, okay, so for the page we have this search okay. So first I'll say most or at least half of the interface design is inspired by the newer version of the PDB website. So I think they have a really good design interface. So we were trying to be similar at least. So okay, so we have a search engine at the top of every page that you can use for search. For the home page, we have this browsing tab, which if you click through any of the tabs, it will show you a brief introduction to like for what's under the browse. Like if we have 3 categories, things like that. And and also at the bottom we have the like a news item, and you can scroll through what's the latest what are the latest events on the RMDB server, and also we have a browsing panel for the most recent entries in a slideshow. So on the top, we organize the functions and pages into a menu that in the browse you have 3 categories, which I will go over later, that we use general RNA puzzle, and also we isolated Eterna from the rest because it requires some special care. And for the deposit, yeah, and then under deposit we have our submission system and a tool for validating the RDAT files you're going to submit. And also we have a specification page for how to explain how the RDAT format works and what are all the annotations or terms. And under the analyze menu, so we have the structural server move here, which is not fully functional yet, and I'm working on it right now. And also we provide links to the tools and packages we use in the lab, and also some of the tutorials on how to use those softwares. And finally, about some of the information and history of all the updates. And also, I've updated the user system that you can have my RMDB login on the corner, which will show some of the basic information of your account. So move on to the browse page. So
on the front page, are you gonna? Your most recent news item was in August 2014.
Yeah, I haven't. I should probably put the like the new RMDB thing. Yeah, because currently we have, if you can see like a tooltip pop up here saying, okay, we are like updated.
Beta,
and probably should move that to the news. And move on to the browse. So it is. So I've been reorganizing the browse page to make it easier for the user to find what you want. So first, we have 3 categories mentioned: the general, the Eterna, the RNA puzzle, which the RNA puzzle only contains the entries for the RNA puzzle blind predictions, and all the rest are in this general category. And then this page is now using a JSON file, AJAX to load, so it should be faster than before. And under each category, we have a lot of entries. And each entry we use a collapsible tab, so that if you don't want to see it, it will be out of your way. It will not make a super long page that you need to scroll through a lot.
How are the categories assigned?
The categories?
Automatically based on the name, or?
Automatically based on the name. If you have a puzzle in your title, then it will post it out.
Some of those are Aftermer puzzles. Those are journal ones, but they're showing demo.
Yeah, so.
They just use the table.
Probably should move that to the journal. Yeah, because those
they just have the wrong name.
No, this so it's like it's judging the RMDB ID now. If you start with RNAPZ, then it's puzzle.
So they have the wrong RMDB ID. They don't start with journal.
Because Hendro just
before we standardize it.
Yeah. So Hendro just submitted like with some like EPF M&A something. So,
oh, I see.
Yeah. So and also they're quite short and manually annotated, so I thought it was not like the standard.
I understand.
Eterna.
Yeah, but they should go in Eterna.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, they have a different name.
Yeah. And then for each entry it all lives in the what do you call it?
With the mic, your computer's like vibrating.
All right. Yeah. And their experimental types. So now you have the standard states at one place and all the mutant maps and then all the mochas. So it should be easier for the user to go down the levels and find the entry that they're looking for, instead of like everything at the same level and this is a super long page. Yeah, and also I made it possible to switch the wheel. So this currently is a thumbnail wheel, and then you can switch to list, where they will provide more details about the entry, that like some of the statistics and the author information, comments, and the image. So you can switch through. And then this is the list wheel for the Eterna entries, because the Eterna data set is usually huge, so it takes more space for the thumbnail. Yeah. And so if you click in any of the entries, it goes to the entry detail page. So this has also been redesigned. So first we have this like a header region that shows some of the most essential information about the sequence, the structure, and the author information, also the name and the RMDB ID. And we've moved all the other annotations to the side panel, which I will go over later. And then for the main body, which is the heat map, that is similar to what we had before, but I added in more features. So for the header part, I've added this new button group that you can download the data file in the two forms, and also I enabled a history tag, so if the entry has multiple previous versions, you are able to download them as well. And we also added a new feature called the superseded tag. So sometimes we have entries with different RMDB ID, but like one is newer and more updated. It's supposed to be superseding the previous, like the older one. So currently the superseded tag was manually typed in. But if the entry is the newest, then it will show up as the latest green tag. But if it has been superseded, it will show you kind of a warning and also point you to the latest one. For the main heat map, so I've built upon Pablo's original design. So first I shift everything to D3.js library, so it should be more fancy and more should be better than the ProtoWiz, which is no longer supported. So first, if
for like 3 years.
Yeah. So if you move your cursor on top of the heat map, it will automatically track where your cursor on, and then it will highlight the current column and row, and also the label of that row and column, so you can get better idea where you are on this map. And for it's a left click, that it will pop out this tooltip showing you the data information about a specific cell. And I've also added a function that you can show the sequence layout, like overlay, on top of the heat map, which for this example is not very useful, but for Eterna or other entries that you have a variety of sequence like across the row, so you can actually see all the sequences. And all of these can be adjusted on a side panel, which are all the settings. So as I mentioned, you can do the sequence overlay, and we also colored the 4 different nucleotides in a similar color as in the Eterna system, and you can turn that off. They will all be black. And also, there's a way that you can adjust the contrast of the heat map. You can make it darker or lighter, whichever works better for you. And also, we are planning to do a reactivity prediction overlay in the future, which is like if you have the sequence and the structure, and they can predict where the dark bands will show up. So moving on to the set panel. So if you right click on any of the rows, it will, so one of the panels will slide out from the left margin. So this is the bar plot panel that creates a 1D bar graph of the row, the data row that you just clicked. And also at the same time, it shows the data annotation of that specific row under the graphs. And you can use the browse tab on the left to go up and down or top and the bottom. And also, if there is a mutation in the sequence, the mutation, like in this case, there are two mutated positions, they will be highlighted in the sequence label too. So it's easier to locate where they are. And also, similarly, this bar plot have the tooltip, and I've also made it possible to save this graph as an SVG file for like later use. So similarly, here is a screenshot for an Eterna entry, which will similarly have this graph and all the associated information about that data. Yeah, so the other side panel of the page is this annotation panel, which show all the other informations about this RMDB entry. The size of the data, and also some other informations. And so there are two tabs too. In the annotation tab, it will basically be like the basic experimental setup, and also the annotation for all the rows together here. So we also have a prediction tab, which is to be worked out later.
I don't get it. When I'm clicking on it, I'm not getting, for a specific Eterna entry, I'm not getting the annotations that are specific to that entry. If I click on that row, am I supposed to?
Which file?
How do I view, how would I view, if I go to an Eterna one? Click an Eterna one. Thank you, that's fine.
Yeah, because for the Eterna, like 0, I've debugged several times. Like there seems to be nothing wrong with the RDAC file, but it just cannot be parsed.
Oh no, but in that tab on the, when you open the tab on the left,
Mm-hmm.
and it says annotation, and then you look at data annotation, it gives you data annotation for the entire file.
Yes, that's supposed to be. And then if you
That's not intuitive. You should just make it for the specific row that's highlighted.
Yeah, but if you right click, and then it will show up this, which have the specific row.
Well, make the default this one, and the right click the other one.
The right click.
Okay, yeah, if you have the functionality, that's great.
Okay.
Because the default view should be specific to the row you're looking at. See what I'm saying?
Of this one?
How do you get the data for the specific row?
Just right click, because
Okay, well,
yeah, because if you left click, it shows a simpler version, and then for right click, it pops up this.
is there any other way to get this view except for right click?
Well, you can manually click on this tab and then browse like up and down if you want.
Okay.
But usually,
I would just get rid of the don't have any right click. You can make the website navigatable without mouse clicks.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
do it without.
Yeah.
So as an example, you could have a click. You could have a click. Just do a regular click
Mhm.
there, and then it shows just click on one of the rows in the heat map,
Mhm.
and then have a box that you can click on inside this panel that says more, detailed view.
Yeah. Right.
Because it's not obvious that you right click here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's great.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no one's going to see your functionality.
Because I wrote it here, like how do you use?
No one's going to look at your settings. Or, like 10% of the people. But if you've done the hard work to make the special view, then not.
And for the rest, so for the validation tool, which was already there, and I just uh, refreshed the page so that you will see the output on the bottom, which is like it's color coded if it's green, and then it will say it's no problem, and then if there are errors, it will also show up. So this is a way to test your RDAT file before you submit it to the database. And also for the submission system, um, similarly a new interface, and then it will have the feedback on top telling you what's going on. And also now, once you submit it, you will automatically receive an email from the system with a confirmation about the submission. Also, as mentioned, we provide a page that have all the tools that we use in the lab, including the Python package to handle the RDAT files, and the HiTrace and MapSeeker, which are the pipelines to process the capillary electrophoresis or the Illumina MySeq data. So those are available for I think for academic use. Yeah. And also for the tutorial page. So
where do you get there? How do you get to that page at all?
So analyze repository tools. And also in the analyze menu down further down we have the tutorial section. So currently we have the RDAT kit one ready that you can browse through it. It explains the basics on how to use it. Also on the deposit menu that we have a documentation of the RDAT file format. You can scroll through it. It explains all the fields and all the valid annotation tags. And also, I've worked a little bit on the user system. So now you can have this floating window on any page that you can use to log in. And also, here's a new registration page. So I think in the end that we have this new about page that is a brief introduction of the RMDB and then some contact info. Also, there's a history page in the same menu that layouts the future development points and also some of the histories. So for the prediction system, the interface has been reworked, but there are some issues with the code in the backend, so it will be launched soon. Though, and also to mention that for the basic search function, it will give you. It's also JSON based, so it's faster, and it will give you a similar view as the browse that you can go through all the results.
Can you think of a better name for the structure server? Or Pablo's original name for the structure server?
Not sure.
RMD bot.
Or MVP.
RMD bot? Horrible.
So it's supposed to take any data and it run the bootstrapping like either all of it for you, and then it should return structure diagram, and also I'm looking to provide all the base pair probability matrix as well. Like, should like it should like replace, not replace, at least as an equal alternative for all the MATLAB functions.
Okay, and the reason that folks would use it is because it has that bootstrap. That's the main thing that it's providing that other servers are not providing.
Yeah. Interestingly, it's people that mostly used it because of its ability to like support DMS.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's a useful server that maybe should be better advertised because it's bootstrapping.
Yeah.
Because most people should be doing bootstrapping. And Bootbot. And so that if you just give it a name and then wrote a short bioinformatics paper for RNA, then
Yeah.
basically like advertising more in bioinformatics. Yeah. In the future, would this be the portal for doing 3D modeling as well then? Right.
It's right now it's still running on the local machine, but like, it's set up on some other thing. It's probably should do it.
Okay, go on to Amazon. And then but it could be like they could launch a job on eventually on a cluster, or if we have a student network, we could have a student network of people doing 3D modeling or anything on the adoption. If they have sufficient interest.
Yeah. It's all coupled. Like,
You're gonna see.
You have to expend it. But okay, good to know. All right.
Yeah, so cover the search is a similar wheel to the browser. And so for some of the future work, as the most recent one, it's gonna be for the structural server to fix some of the issues with the bootstrapping currently, and also to enable a choice of either default or the shape class executable, and also like providing more detailed and interactive results, like for the base pairing matrix, and then for unit map, we can also get back the D-score figure, so people, so the user can have a better idea of like if something is going wrong or if they should redo something. And also, yeah, so once this got working, we will cache. So basically, we will run it for all the RMDB entries and then cache the results and then provide them on the entry page so people can preview it. And if they're super interested, they can actually, so there will be a link to channel to the structural server that they can actually make like some customization of the run if they want. And for a longer term future, so currently we're using the D3 for the heat map rendering. It works fine. It's just the rendering of the HTML is slower when the dataset is large. For example, for an Eterna dataset is on average about 500 to 700,000 tiles in the heat map, which will cause the browser to freeze for like 5 seconds. So, so in the future, I can explore if there are any alternatives that can accelerate this process, or do a gradual rendering, so at least it's not like blacking out.
There must be tools available.
Yeah, because
Canvas is pretty old toolkit, right?
So it's not to use the JavaScript canvas, but the canvas element of the HTML5.
Oh, HTML5. Is that faster?
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
The thing is, yeah, so that's what, like, we have this different schedule to the server.
Yeah.
It used Canvas, it was like a lot faster. SVG. So,
Oh, he did?
yeah, like.
Canvas HTML5.
Yeah, he was, like, the images you see in the PV server are not like Madlib images, like, they're actual. Like,
Rendered on the fly.
The whole like, face.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's where we go.
That's cool. That sounds worth exploring.
So if we can load this like 700,000 tiles in 1 second, and then that will be way.
So you're gonna supply, okay, just going back to the secondary structure prediction. You're gonna render images using Varna on
So-
the server side.
Yeah.
And
and then and then show a static. A new window that to deal with all the Varna applet warning stuff.
yeah, but do you want also, we have a JavaScript-based renderer, secondary structures that Justin Huang put together for Eterna. It's a JavaScript-based renderer. Do you want that code?
Yeah.
Want to try it?
Yeah, I'll try
Something
something.
like, Organ.
So the format I try is not that great because okay,
Sort
so
of lobby.
yeah, it looks
You
better.
could
but
launch in Forna. You could have a
yeah,
lobby.
so yeah, we're planning to like we provide both, and then like the user choose like which one you want to play with. Because for the Forna, I tried. It's like it doesn't solve the overlapping problem at all. It sometimes gets more crowded and weird looking off the stamp. It's like really wiggly things. So
Yeah, it doesn't have straight lines.
yeah.
It's not really a good visualization.
Yeah, but I mean, like they did enable some like force field, like you can drag things around. But yeah, so I think it's cool that you can provide both, like if you want. So you can choose like a Varna or yeah, it's like every way.
Do you know where to find the Justin's JavaScript code? Do you have access to all the dev servers?
Oh, is it that?
Yeah, I just don't know where it is. But wherever that's currently used to render images for Eterna, like the little thumbnails you get in Eterna. Or if you ever do the, what's it called? If you set up the puzzle maker, I think, you may also call it. Well, maybe the thing to do is, if you're interested in it, can we just give you access to the Eterna servers?
Yeah.
And you can find it? Okay. Good. So can you maybe will you be able to come by our dev meeting this afternoon? Bring it up. Cool.
Yeah, and also to integrate more to the 3D end, that we are planning to add in a JMO module for PDB visualization that we can color the reactivity on the PDB structures, and also in the future to enable like the download of this session file.
That's going to be the killer app here.
So
cool.
Yeah, so that's one step forward to the 3D like, front end. And also some of the other stuff, maybe, yeah, so renew some of the images, like the thumbnails, and also complete all the missing tutorials and documentations of the website or the tools. And for
Can you just move the microphone to the middle? I think they're complaining about audio. Joe, just move it to the middle of the table.
Yes.
is this fun? Like,
Yeah, we're going to hear all the noise of like people rubbing against the top table.
Okay, but now no one can hear anything.
They just
put it
go
right here in the middle.
Okay.
it's
Bring the table over. It's going to be, it needs to be off the table. Or just bring that projector thing over.
Okay.
This usually works. Right here.
It was a ton of background noise. People couldn't hear it. Should I put it like behind the table?
Well, let's just ask.
Behind the table?
Okay, people, let us know if you can't hear.
All right.
fun. So more about the integration with Eterna of RMDB. So thinking about adding those features. So first, we can, like for each entry that should enable a browse by project.
See, now I can barely hear CG.
Oh, really? Just
Yeah.
point it more towards him.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So add a browse by project feature that all of these massive RMDB entry like have like I think like 5,000-ish roles that you can just concentrate on the product, like the subset of the roles you're interested in. Also, you can retrieve by the internal ID, like for each role. So this is a better way to view the data of interest than knowing the whole RLAN file. Also, maybe to know more about the scores, like you can filter like all the entries above a certain cutoff, or like you can do a ranking of the scores.
Yeah, I think it's too hard to hear.
Okay, bring the mic this. Sorry. Put it back. Maybe you should put it over there, but turn up the gain or something.
Okay. Yeah, at least here you can hear CG like really nice.
My computer, maybe I can.
I don't think it's your computer.
So this mute is it mute now?
No, it would be blinking. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so adding more functions around the score term that maybe you can rank or filter by the score. Yeah, and also since we can pull out a subset of the RDAT files either by project or by ID or by score, that we should enable a download for these for an RDAT file that only contains the subset of the entries, so which should be a smaller file size, and it should be easier for example, loading in the Eterna platform, because for the API, it doesn't need to download like the whole RDAT file anymore. It just can pull out the subset entries. And
So that'll be for people creating their own data visualization tools.
mm-hmm.
That's the idea?
Yeah, it's just a better API system. It's like more flexible and yeah.
So you'll allow queries that return JSON formatted data for particular projects.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, because currently I have the system for just render, just like convert the whole RDAT to a JSON file, and then should be, yeah, just add a search step, and then it should be able to produce a smaller JSON file for the subset entries.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think more on the advanced search. So currently we have some search functions based on the secondary structure of, for example, like junctions. And I'm thinking to, as Rachel suggested, to add in more like maybe search by author, or even more. I think like we should like to improve and expand the current search system, and also for the Eterna, one of the challenges like the total database is huge, so should develop a way to do a fast search out of like millions of entries. It's like, yeah, and also in the future, maybe it could be some suggestion system that mines through all the previous entries and then come out with some sort of score that can kind of learn that recommend what is similar. It's like a Amazon, recommendation system. It's like if you browse this project and then it pushes you the other 3 similar projects or like similar designs, things like that. So it's better for the user to explore a specific like sub problem. And
I think that would be powerful, not just
Yeah.
for Eterna. Actually, all of the stuff that you're outlining here would be powerful for Eterna, but
Yeah.
also just generally speaking,
for
exploring
database.
the RNA world.
Mhm. Yeah, and the analytics tool, haven't looked much into it. It's like, so I think kind of crowdsource from the players, like, what do you think? Yeah, because we have a post somewhere. So, what are the most frequently used tools that you use when analyzing the data, and what do you want uh, to be launched in the RMDB so that you don't need to switch between web pages anymore. You can just get everything down at one place. And also maybe we can like vote like, and then in the end we integrate some of those tools into the platform. Yeah. So that's all I have. And for any suggestions, you can post it or you can post it or in the chat platform, or you can email me directly. We can discuss more in details of how to make our database and server better. Yeah.
Have you looked at the various visualization tools from players?
Yeah, look at ones, and also Pablo mentioned one like for a PCA analysis that you can plot the you can plot all the entries by the principal components, like one way to visualize like maybe somebody's really doing really good and then some are like on the other end. That's that.
What is doing really good? What?
Think not sure like for the PCA, like what are the problems? Like what are the predictors?
Like sequence.
Yeah, sequence
or
also maybe the scores.
space.
And
and you
is
can
that
color it by scores. Or,
yeah, so it's just
Okay, and then I think there's a lot of player tools for searching the data. Have you reviewed that?
not yet. Yeah, we're looking into it.
Yeah, that's kind of a phase 3, phase 4, or a phase 4, maybe phase 5 type project. Good.
Yeah.
So there's one player comment from Nando. He gave it to you 2 weeks ago, but he'll repeat it here. Thumbs up.
there is RMDB data right now.
So it's locally on the server, it's backed up every week, and yeah, so it's automatically backed up now, which is good, but I need to maybe further.
Where is backup?
Yeah, so that's
I mean,
where is it? So
where
it's
it goes backup? Like, where is it backup?
so it's on the same computer. That's the issue. Actually, yeah, because like so I need to figure out a way to like connect to a cloud and then automatically upload like every week, because it does backup, but it's on the same one. So once the breakdown is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we move it to Amazon, I
Yeah,
can show you how to do it.
It will be there for Amazon,
Yeah.
but currently we're just doing it manually.
Well, one thing that I think we should discuss offline is so one possibility is that the improvements you're making here would then get imported into Eterna with some changes in the graphics, right? And it would be, maybe the same viewer almost, but just with a different skin. Because you already have something the players are requesting. If you go back, you have a way to show the data in secondary structures and then hit the up arrow to go up and down, right? So you have a lot of these features that players want. like this one. Oh, you're not sure? Yeah, you just point to the up and down arrows here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, there, right. So that's what a lot of folks want to be able to see. You kind of have everything. Plus, you're going to have 3D if we have a 3D model, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's potentially super powerful. Plus, you'll have run the structure server on everything.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a question of should we have it inbuilt or imported into Eterna. Now, of course, that I think it really depends on what's happening with the game itself. With Pablo, your plans. Maybe it doesn't. I mean, the other option is that we take this out of Eterna.
What do you mean, like, which one? Oh, the visualization?
Yeah.
Could be. And then just like go. Yeah, because right now, I mean, it's very limited how you can like actually see the data. If you actually had a list of the projects per entry, it'll already be better than what Eterna has.
Yeah. Did you guys see Matt 747's post
Yeah.
on this? Did you see that? I don't know if CG saw it.
It's basically that. It's basically.
It's very beautiful. He did mock-ups of what he'd want it to look like.
It's like a catalog of all the
Yeah,
projects.
just take a look at it. It's pretty cool. If you just go to GetSat, and then it's one of the most recent posts. But the one thing is our RDATs don't have all this extra meta information on project description, thumbnails, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the question, I mean, this is also a question for you, Pablo, if you think about it. So one option is for the RMDB to host all this stuff
Third
and
one,
to
yeah.
pull that data from the Eterna server based on Eterna IDs.
No.
Or we have a
This one.
Eterna host its own thing and then pull data from the RMDB. I don't have a sense for what's best.
I think the best thing would be, like, it might be like, the best thing would be the RMB pull the data and then like just sort of like go to the RMB.
Okay, yeah. So it's in one place.
Just in one place.
And RMDB is hosted on Amazon server, so it can handle the load.
Yeah.
I see it. So the Eterna would load up these, be in charge of loading up these pages.
Yeah.
But then it would pull request via CG's new API.
Yeah.
To pull data.
And the thing is that I think it's much better because the RMB right now, it's thanks to CG, is like kind of like has a solid base like Bootstrap and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which Eterna doesn't actually have.
That's right, and it's going to continue improving.
It's a lot easier to do.
Yeah, and it'll continue improving. That's a good point. And the other thing that I like about this model that we just suggested is that, like, the data that Johan's collecting, for example, probably does not belong in RMDB. It's not tempo mapping data.
Yeah.
It does not belong necessarily just inside Eterna. You guys are probably going to, have you developed your own file format for the green stuff? And database? Yeah. Yeah, so you have to do that.
It's just one table.
What? It's just one table.
It's just one table and one experiment.
Yeah, so that's, if you have, if the plan is to create a file format that's universal, which I think you should do, then that should be stored in a different database probably, with different accession IDs. The other thing to think about for the RMDB is, CG, you brought up this idea that it's inspired by the PDV, which has evolved over, I guess, 30 years. It's really a refined tool now, and it's a beautiful tool.
Mm-hmm.
Now the PDV is starting to take data from other experimental approaches, like cryo-EM. Well, it took NMR, started taking NMR early in the 80s and 90s. Now it takes cryo-EM data, and now it's starting to take X-ray scattering data, for example. And I think what's helped in those cases, but I could be wrong, is that when you go to those entries in the PDV, they have links to databases that are more experiment specific. specific to the experimental method. So you'll get, if you look at an NMR entry, for many of those, you'll get the raw data, but the raw data will lead you to the VMRV, right? So the cryo-EM will lead you to the, I forgot what it's called, the EMDB or something, which was established, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago, and it created this this sense of a bona fide repository and file format that made that method bona fide. So we're not quite there, I think, with RNA mapping, but we're getting close to where we're taking these multidimensional data sets and have an almost automated pipeline for producing 3D models or ensemble models. So one thing you could imagine in the future is that the PDB will accept models of RNAs and RNPs based on these kinds of data, and they'll take links into the RMDB, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, we might actually hand over the RMDB to the PDB folks or to some other consortium. I think that's a pretty appealing vision from our point of view. We're doing this groundwork. We don't necessarily want to maintain this for the rest of our careers. I don't. CG is going to go change the world in some different way, I think. But yeah, I think that's maybe a vision for how this is going to move forward. Cool. Other questions or comments from the players?
One more.
You want to read it?
Yeah. So Nando asks, I'm not sure if I heard correctly, but Varna didn't work out.
So Varna requires a lot of security settings, and it always pop out annoying like warnings all the time.
You know why it is? Like they didn't like sign your certificate?
Yeah, so for the user, you have to manually download a certificate from the Varna website first, and it requires a lot of setup. So that really slows down the experience, and also more importantly, that if you have more than one Varna applet on the same page, it will be really worse. It will just freeze, and so that's why we're thinking we can provide a screenshot, because we have our server set up to handle all the Varna stuff. So we provide a screenshot for a preview of how the secondary structure looks like. But for anyone who really wants to, launch the applet and really play with it, then they can click it. They can click on it, and then it will pop up a new window which handles all the pop-ups like warnings, security, like certificate, like stuff. So just for a general audience, it's like you won't accidentally open a prediction page and your browser got frozen because of the Varna stuff.
And the understand what about the
FO
thing I showed you?
Yes, yeah. So we just discussed a little bit. So the Forna I explored a little bit. So it does provide more possibilities, but like the rendering. So first, it does not solve the secondary structure overlapping problem. It's like it's still really crowded, and then things like the nucleotides on top of each other. So and also and also like the helices are not straight, like they are really wiggly somehow by the algorithm. So we're thinking it's a good alternative. So maybe so besides Varna, we're gonna include maybe a platform that you can channel to the Forna too. So the user can choose in the pop-up window like which applet or system to load for the interactive session. So we're gonna include both, but let the user to decide which is like the favorite one.
All right.
Okay.
So yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. We are.